There are certain things that happen to a person that make them feel inherently powerless. There are some things that are more significant than others, and people feel like the only way they can feel a sense of control is if they turn to a substance. And so, even though many people on the outside appear like addicts, or they appear like people who don't seem to know what they want, or, they've faced a lot of judgment, sometimes they're just dealing with emotions that they would rather not talk about. And I'm going to use this point to also call for more empathy, because this is something I'm very passionate about. Addictions are not always because of a moral failure. They're not always because people just were facing peer pressure. Even with youths, even with teenagers, sometimes they're dealing with so many things happening in their parents' lives, in the life of their loved ones, happening in school, for example. Many people are bullied and they feel like the only way that they can deal with it is to pick up a substance. It's not just because they're trying to feel among. So I'm also using this point to call for more empathy. The next time you see someone who seems to be an addict, or who seems to be relying or dependent on a substance, or constantly going back to a behavior, despite, even if it's gambling, for example, despite all the things that they seem to have lost, I want to call for more empathy. So instead of saying, "Why are you like this?" for example, it would be more empathetic and far more appropriate to say what happened to you, or what's going on in your life, what's going on in your heart, what's going on in your mind. Chances are, if they are comfortable enough to be honest, they would tell you something that would sincerely make you move from judgment to more empathy and compassion. And so what a lot of people are really looking for isn't to just make a bad decision, or to just make a wreck of things, or to lose their marriage, or to lose money, or to end up homeless, or to lose their job. That's not what the average person doesn't wake up and say, "Hey, today I'm going to lose my job. Today I'm going to become an addict." The average person doesn't do that. Or "I'm going to lose my marriage, I'm going to lose my kids." The average person doesn't wake up with that resolve. What people are usually looking for, like I mentioned, is a semblance of peace. It may not be true peace. It may just be the illusion of peace, but it's a semblance of peace. And in that brief period of time, it's enough for them. That's what they think. So one thing people are looking for is usually a semblance of peace. Sometimes they're looking for a connection that they're missing. If a person just dealt with a breakup, I've heard people laugh at people who make very seemingly rash decisions when they go through a breakup, or when, it seems like a relationship ended. Many people think it's not that serious, but many people have taken very drastic decisions because of the pain that came from that breakup. And so sometimes one of the decisions people make is to turn to a substance, or start engaging in a behavior, right? And so even if a person lost someone, for example, like the story I mentioned, even if a person lost someone, sometimes they just want to feel something. They just want to feel something. They feel numb, they just want to feel something. A sense of identity, safety, or control. This is also very common with teenagers. This is also very common with someone that's dealing with bullying, someone dealing with identity issues, someone hiding many things going on their inside. Sometimes these addictions that people end up engaging with is because they just want to feel a sense of identity. They want to feel safe. At the end of the day, they end up sometimes too late finding out that what they thought would give them warmth and safety is the very thing that ends up exposing them. But in the moment that they feel that pain, they don't think, that's not what they think, that's not what's coming to their mind. So another reason why people turn to addictions is because of the weight of an emotional overload. They feel overwhelmed, they feel heavy-hearted, they feel heavy-laden. And so sometimes these are some of the reasons why people turn to addictions. And even though in many cases people have tasted the negative impact of the substance or the behavior that they are now addicted to, they still keep going back to it because a part of their brain remembers the temporary relief that they felt. So if it was a distraction, if it was some form of joy, if that was the first time. Some people, for the first time that they had a laugh in weeks is after 7 bottles of alcohol. So a part of their brain remembers that. A part of their brain tells them that this is when we last felt this joy, this emotion. And so they go back to the substance or the behavior.